It's one of the most exciting times in the NFL. That's right. The 2025 NFL Combine is taking place this week. John Lynch and the crew will be in attendance. Hit that like button. We're going to get into it. It's the NFL Combine preview, baby, right here on the Wayne Breezie Show. What's going on out there? It's your boy D Wayne Breezie. Let me know if the audio is good. Hit that thumbs up. All right. Let me know if the audio is good. I'm clearly not hearing my audio right now, so that's why I decided I had to ask you if the audio is good. All right, so let me know. Welcome to the Wayne Breezie Show. I truly appreciate you guys. Oh, you might can't hear me. Oh, you know what? Because I had to restart my computer. This is interesting. I had to restart my computer and the app isn't in order. All right, here we go. Let me know if you guys can hear me out there, man. Let's see. Got my sound effects going. All right. Here we go. So what's going on with the crew out there, man? How you guys doing? I hope you guys had a great weekend. All right. I'm not hearing anything in my I'm not hearing anything in my ears, so that's why it's a little weird to me. Let's see if I can fix that. I need to be able to hear me some feedback. All right, sounds great. That's all I needed to know. Thanks for tuning into the show, man. Appreciate you guys. Shout out to all the members of the Breezy Bunch crew, man. Hit that like button if you didn't hit it already. I definitely want to send some morning shout outs. 49ers_throwback says happy Monday, faithful. It's the NFL Combine. Make sure you smash that like button. Oscar, happy Monday. It's always too short of a weekend. Ready for this combine. Boats is in the building. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Peachy says good afternoon. Breezy, everyone, let's get ready for a very important combine. That's right. We got a very important draft coming up, so I can definitely dig exactly what you mean by this being very important. I see my man Rusty out there. Colin, appreciate you, dog. Appreciate you. Audio is good. This is weird. I struggle when I can't hear me. So I have to fix that. Like that I need to be able to hear what the hell I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? That's going to bother me. So bear with me. I'm going to get it right. But anyway, if you guys can hear, we'll keep the show moving. I'm not going to keep you guys too long, but I do want to preview the NFL Combine. This is one of the most important times of the year because the San Francisco 49ers get to go down there. They get to interview several players, for their top 30 visits and stuff like that. And this is going to be really cool, right? The Niners get hands-on interview experience. They get their eyes on some players. They get to watch these players, see some of their traits out there. And let me just put this out there that the NFL Combine really is a testing. It's just a testing site for the best of the best, right? The best of the best get the invite, and they come down there, and they're going to run. They're going to run. They're going to jump. Whether it's how high with the vertical jump, how long with the broad jump, they're going to lift weights. We're going to see how strong these guys are. They're going to participate in certain drills. There's the quarterback drills. There's the offensive lineman drills. You get to see how quick these offensive linemen can move in 10 yards. We call that the 10-yard shuttle. There's so many different aspects that you can get based off of just how athletic these players are, how strong these players are. And believe it or not, those metrics do matter. You're going to get the official measurement, hand size. We saw how that hurt like our quarterback Brock Purdy because he doesn't have certain size hands. Arm length for the offensive linemen, how that might affect them from going from playing tackle in college to playing guard in the NFL. The shorter the arms, they're going to be sliding on over to the guard position, right? And so you're going to get all of these metrics, height, weight, all that good stuff out there. All right. So this is a really exciting time for those that are ready to get this 2025 season. You know what I'm saying? On. Like, it's time, right? We lost. We're dealing with it. And it's time to move forward for the San Francisco 49ers. So I'm super excited. Now, John Lynch is expected to speak with the crew to the media on Wednesday, I believe 2 p.m. Eastern time. I believe that's 11 a.m. Pacific time. And let's talk a little bit about what John Lynch may be asked. I know for me personally, I'm hoping they ask about Deebo Samuel. Are the 49ers going to trade him? Things like that. I'm sure he's not going to answer it in that way, but we'll probably get a little bit more insight on what it's looking like for the Deebo Samuel trade. You got teams that are currently probably calling John Lynch just to see how much it's going to cost to get a guy like Deebo Samuel there. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So Deebo's questions, Brock Purdy extension, are they likely to get that done sooner or later? We know how the 49ers move when it comes to contract extensions and contract negotiations and things like that. Will they take their sweet time when it comes to extending Brock Purdy? He is playing on the final year of his rookie deal. The 49ers don't have to extend him. They could franchise tag him, I would say, next season, where he'll be up there. What I think the number is like $50-something million for a quarterback to franchise tag. So we'll see what happens when it comes to Brock Purdy's extension. But one of the guys that I want to know about is George Kittle, one of the older, savvy, veteran, all-pro players on the San Francisco 49ers, who's also entering the last year of his deal, and he has no more guarantees on his contract. So will the Niners look to extend him, make him a 49er for life, or will he be one of the expendables as well? Like we see George Kittle putting out the campaign. I know if George Kittle is released or traded or whatever, this fan base will go berserk. I mean berserk. All right, berserk. Felicia, what's going on? Good morning to you as well. Again, shout out to all the members of the Breezy Bunch crew. I appreciate you guys' love, support. Shout out to the moderators too out there in the chat, man. You guys holding it down, doing an amazing job. But back to John Lynch. I'm excited to see what he has to say. I do know he's not going to give us much. He may give us a few nuggets or two, and then we kind of got to do our job. We got to do our due diligence with the information that he's probably going to release. It's not going to be much, but he is slated to speak to the media at 2 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. All right, on Wednesday. Now let's look at these events so we can kind of see how things are going to be grouped out. All right, how things are going to be grouped out. It really sucks that I can't hear my audio. I'm really pissed off right now. So don't be mad. Just be mad at everything else. I'm a little teed up, right? I don't hear my sound effects, but you guys hear the sound effects, right? So that's the only thing that matters. All right. Here's the slated schedule right now. You got Thursday where the events actually kick off. Now, players are there. They're going to be doing interviews as of today. They're going to get measured. They're going to get weighed in. They're going to get all that preliminary stuff, the medical stuff tomorrow. I believe they go for the physicals tomorrow. And then then Wednesday might be media day. So we'll see how all this stuff is all this stuff slays out for the San Francisco 49ers. But here's the schedule, what's going to happen with the NFL Combine. So Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern time, you're going to get the defensive linemen and the linebackers. All right, so the defensive linemen and the linebackers will kick off the 2025 NFL Scouting Combine. All right, they're going to kick off the Scouting Combine. All right, and so we're going to get the defensive linemen and linebackers. I guarantee you Thursday, everybody will be glued to their seats or TVs or however you want to say it. Everybody's going to be glued to it. Why? This draft right here, the 2025 NFL Draft, has tons of talent in the defensive line department. Whether you're going edge, whether you're going interior, there's speed, there's strength, there's size, there's great moves, great get-offs. I mean, this is the position that I know, me personally, I will be super glued to the television set. All right, I would be super glued to the television set. Why? Because I feel like the San Francisco 49ers have a little stock when it comes to the defensive line. And with Dre Greenlaw being a free agent, there are a few linebackers out there that I feel like the 49ers may have their heart set on. Now, you guys got to go back to the Senior Bowl. All right, you got to go back to Coach KJ Wright being the defensive line coach for the national team in the Senior Bowl, which means he got hands-on experience. I talked to several of those players, and they did talk, to KJ Wright. They were able to talk to him about, just football, That's speaking with the 49ers. They talked about, and so I'm excited to see how many of these guys are going to test well. I saw them play well in the All-Star game. Now, how well will they test? That's going to be the question going forward. So I just know that I know for me, I'm focusing on just that Thursday. Thursday is going to be the day that I'm definitely highlighting 1,000%. Thursday highlighting because I want to see. And later on in the show, I'm going to give you some of my favorite players out there that you guys might want to just, pay a little attention to while you're watching the combine, right? That way, at least you'll know their names, all right? And then on Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern time, and again, these are on NFL Network and Fubo, all right? Fubo, all right? Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern time, the last day of February, you're going to get the DBs and the tight ends. Another two exciting groups. I like how they're kind of like matching these groups up too. Like, this is kind of cool. You're getting the DBs, you're getting the tight ends. It's pretty daggone damn solid too. Now that I think about it, you're gonna get all these DBs, fast guys, size, man coverage. You're gonna get to see them jump, and this is when you look at their the drills that they're going to run. Pay attention to not just the drills, but like the agility. You want to pay attention to how well they run, how fast they run out. So the 40-yard dash is going to be something interesting for the DBs. Also, I want to see how high they could jump. I want to see how athletic some of these cornerbacks are, these defensive cornerbacks, right? I want to see how athletic they are. Like, can they jump? Like, how quick do they move in space? And things like that. You're not going to get coverage and things like that, but they will run cornerback drills. You're going to see them run the drills out there. I want to see how well they turn their hips, how well they're playing on the ball. And stuff like that. And I want to see if they can catch, believe it or not. Like, I'm actually excited to see how this pans out, for the San Francisco 49ers when they're looking at these DBs. I can't wait to see. There was a word on the street that they wanted to go more with speed, but do they go more with speed with size? Or, like, are they going to look to play press man? I don't know what Robert Saleh wants to do. We do have a new DBs coach and Ray Brown. And I was just looking at some of the players that he coached throughout his collegiate career. And when you look at the kid from Carolina, maybe look for cornerbacks that kind of match that particular, stature. We have guys on the roster, but like just moving forward. So, a kid out of Kansas State that I like, Jacob Parrish, great tackling DB, great tackling cornerback. Feel like that's the size that we might be going with. I don't know, but I heard that they want to go with quicker, speedier corners. All right, so we'll see what happens. All right, so on Friday, and then the tight ends. I mean, we got to find us another weapon. We got to find us another weapon at the tight end position, and you're going to see tight ends. Which tight end is going to run the fastest? Which tight end? You're not going to get blocking drills from tight ends here. They might do some offensive line drills. You might get some of the tight ends to line up in line and do some of those kind of, drills that the offensive linemen do. But you're not. Listen, look for the athletic guys. Everybody's going to be looking for the next Brock Bowers. It's unfortunate. It's what it is. The next Brock Bowers. And I can tell you right now, Harold Fannin Jr. is the highest rated tight end coming out of college entering the draft. He's higher rated than what Brock Bowers was rated coming out of the draft. So he could be a guy to watch, especially at the combine. This can actually, I felt like the Senior Bowl, like, kind of decreased him a little bit or declined him a little bit. But I feel like the combine would put him back on the incline, depending on how well he runs and things like that. So the tight ends, that's going to be an exciting group. Saturday is going to be the long day, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, we got quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers. I know none of us are going to be looking for quarterbacks. We don't really care about the quarterbacks, but running backs, don't sleep on these running backs. I think Bobby Turner is going to get a guy, especially on day 3. I'm not expecting the 49ers to go running back day 1 or day 2, but day 3, there is going to be tons of talent. So we're talking rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7. There's going to be tons of talent at the running back position. I want to see how well they run. They're running backs. I want to see how well they run. I want to see them in their drills. I want to see, how they move. Are they agile? Can they get skinny? Can they get to the outside? You're going to see those particular types of drills for the running backs for sure. But the wide receivers, 49ers lose Deebo Samuel. I'm expecting the Niners to draft another wide receiver. I'm not expecting the 49ers to draft another Deebo Samuel, but I'm expecting them to draft another playmaking type of a wide receiver, and that day is on Saturday. We're going to see how fast they run, how agile they are. Pay attention to the gauntlet. Like, Nick, that's one of my favorite drills, the gauntlet. All right, pay attention to that when they run on the straight line. Remember George Kittle? You'll see the George Kittle with the bloody nose clip going out when he's running down a straight line and he's catching the passes from both sides. That's that gauntlet. Love it, love it, love it, because that's what we want to know. How quick, how fast can they run on the straight line, and how can they catch, right, when the balls are coming like darts? And so that's important, especially to Kyle Shanahan's offense. You saw Puka Nacua do it really well. You know, it's funny because Ronnie Bell did the gauntlet really well too. He caught everything, but he couldn't catch in the NFL. Too funny of a story. But that's a really good drill to pay attention to when it comes to the wide receivers and the cornerbacks. They're both going to run that drill. And then on Sunday, we cap this off with probably the biggest group, the offensive freaking line. They get their own day. Yeah, like, do I have that right? The offensive line gets their own day. That is going to be exciting because there's tons. I mean, tackles, guards. I like the guards better in this draft than I do the tackles. And there's some guards that are really good in space, right? And so I'm excited to watch the guards. I'm excited to watch Tyler Booker from Alabama. I think he's going to be phenomenal. I'm excited to watch a lot of these guards move. I already know Gray Zabel is going to be moving up. He moved up at the Senior Bowl. I know he's listed as a tackle, but I think he's going to test, I think when he's drafted, I think he's going to play guard. So offensive line, the centers out there. Check out my new reel I just put out, or my new short. I just put out a new center short, my top 5 centers. Willie Lampkin, the third, like, I need people to stop sleeping on this kid because of his size. I understand size matters, pause, but I need people to stop sleeping on Willie, because of his size. Because that kid is literally, like, he's just a muscle. Like, he is strong. He can move mountains at 5'11", 295 pounds. He can really move some guys. So don't sleep on Willie Lampkin. I would love for the 49ers to find a way to pick him up. I like his versatility. He could play guard. He played very well at the Senior Bowl, in my opinion, at guard and at center. I would love to see him play center. He can also line up at fullback and be a running back. So he's very athletic and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if he tests really well this week at the NFL Combine, man. It's going to be fun to watch these guys run. I will say that. It's going to be fun to watch these guys run. All right, I see some comments out there from the Breezy Bunch crew, man. I see some questions and things like that. So let me see if I can get to some of these that I see regarding, if you have anything out there, man, about the NFL Combine. If there are any players you want to know about on this particular episode, feel free to put it in here in the chat, and I'll get to it for sure. Oscar says, I really want to hear where they stand on Greenlaw more than anything. I don't think we get anything on the Greenlaw situation. You know what I mean? I think you'll get an answer from John Lynch. I think you'll get an answer like, yes, we love him. We would love to retain him. But here's my thing about Dre Greenlaw. If the San Francisco 49ers don't extend Dre Greenlaw before the draft, I would say before free agency hits, he's gone. If you allow Dre Greenlaw to hit free agency, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. He's good as gone. In my opinion, he's good as gone. In my opinion. You also asked about Shedeur. You said Shedeur Sanders is not working out. So Shedeur Sanders is not working out, and I just got word that Cam Ward will possibly not be working out as well. Now, that means that they'll go there, they'll get measured, right? They may do the physicals, but they won't participate in the drill. So they won't participate on Thursday or on their day. All right. They won't throw. They won't participate on whatever the quarterback's day is. So this is true. Now, Jackson Dart, this will give him an opportunity to bump up. Riley, another opportunity. So some of these other quarterbacks, Jalen Milroe out of Alabama, this is going to give these guys opportunities to be seen more, to throw more, to do more. My pick, my quarterback that I really like I know Jackson Dart is a landslide to get because he's going to bump up, but Tyler Shugg out of Louisville, like that kid, I think is going to be someone that's going to rise up after the NFL Combine. So, just pay attention to these guys. They're definitely, depending on how accurate they're going to throw, how quick that ball's going to, can they throw the deep ball? And we know that everybody's excited about the deep pass. Everybody's excited about the deep pass. I can tell you right now, I think Jalen Milroe may throw the deepest pass. He just seems the most athletic and the strongest out of the quarterback. Just like the kid that got drafted to the Patriots last year. They took two quarterbacks. They took Drake May and Joe Milton, remember? Joe Milton got the cannon. You know what I mean? So I feel like Jalen Milroe, who's way more athletic than Joe Milton, but I can see those guys' draft stocks rising if they do some things right. You know what I mean? If they do some things right. All right. So the quarterbacks, I'm not really in tune to the quarterbacks. Just not really in tune to the quarterbacks, but there are some. I don't feel like we're going to draft a quarterback. I'm going to be talking about quarterbacks for the 49ers soon this week, but I just don't feel like that's, I'm excited to see if we go there, but I don't know. I don't think quarterback is on their radar as of right now. But I am excited to see like who does what, you know what I'm saying? Now, I'm going to be responding to those that are members' questions and stuff like that right now. And then if I see some questions that I'll star, all right, I'll definitely go ahead and make sure I get to those by the end of the show. Felicia says, do you see any reports of DJ Reed working on a deal with the Niners to replace Mooney Ward? Okay, you're not going to like what I got to say about DJ Reed. Now, I like DJ Reed, but DJ Reed may just be, as of right now, DJ Reed may be the number one sought after cornerback in the draft. In the free agency, which means he's going to be money expensive. And again, I can't hear my damn sound effects, but you can hear the money, right? So he's going to be expensive. And I don't think the Niners are going to go that route. I don't think they're going to go the expensive route. Now, we got to pay attention. There's going to be other players that are going to be released, cap casualties, things like that. Free agency is a whole nother monster. I can't really wait till we start attacking the free agency. This is a great question, Felicia, because I just don't feel like the Niners are going to be able to afford this route. You know what I mean? And I don't know if they should. I want some of the guys that they have to develop. I think that's why they brought in a guy like Ray Brown who can kind of develop these young players. I want to see what we could do with Darrell Luter Jr. And I'm not saying we don't add a veteran, but I don't think that the San Francisco 49ers are going to add an expensive veteran at this position. They're going to be getting up under that contract from Charvarius Ward because he's a free agent. I think they already signed their guy in Diamador Lenore, and I feel like they love what they saw out of Renardo Green. Can they get more upside from Darrell Luter Jr. Coming into this season? I think they draft another guy, and I think there will be some type of a veteran DB that they add in free agency, but I just don't think it's going to cost them a lot of money, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to cost them a lot of money. All right. Oscar says, biggest detractor about Shugg is his age. Listen, Bo Nix was old. So I love this, right? I love this comment because I thought that teams would have stayed away from Bo Nix as well, but they didn't. And Bo Nix took his team to the playoffs. He was an older kid. He played in several teams in college. I remember interviewing him at the Senior Bowl 2 years ago, but he was ready mentally. So when you look at Tyler Shugg, you're hoping you get a guy that could come onto a team that is just mentally prepared due to his age and experience in playing college football. So I'm thinking a team may go that route. Now, I don't know if he'll be a first round pick like Bo Nix. I only have two, maybe three quarterbacks that I feel like should get drafted in the first round. But if he has a great Senior Bowl, I can really see his stock rising. I can really, really, truly see his stock rising. That's just in my opinion. I can see his stock rising. All right. Again, let me just say, I'm going to give you guys some players that I like. You know what I mean? And I'll start with the quarterbacks. So I'm going to be looking at my list and, players to watch at the combine. And I know it's just a big test. It's a big test on how well these guys, how fast they run, all that good stuff. I get it. It's nothing more but it's exciting to watch. It's football. You know these players are going to be entering the NFL. You want to see which of these players, you know what I'm saying, are going to potentially be 49ers. I think that's what it comes down to. Like, which of these players are going to potentially become 49ers? Sometimes we feel like we could get it right. The Niners like to go off of film. They like, if somebody stands out to them, you know what I mean? You know, then yeah. But they're going to stand out to all the other teams, and then it comes down to who's going to make the 49ers big board. But just them being at the combine, I'm going to go through all the positions. I'm going to try to give you 2 or 3 players from each position that I just want you guys to stand out on. Probably going to be some players that you probably never heard me really talk about because I've had time to watch more film and stuff like that. And so just stand by and take notes, because this is going to be informational. There are a lot of players that I have from this combine that didn't partake in the Senior Bowl, that didn't play in the East-West Shrine Bowl, but had really good seasons, and they've been invited. Some players turned down those invites in those All-Star games just to do the combine. They wanted to test. They wanted to prepare for the combine. So, I just think that that's going to be something interesting to watch. All right, here we go. So I'll start with quarterbacks. I talked about, obviously, Jackson Dart. He's going to be number 1. I want to see what Will Howard does. I know everybody's talking about Riley Leonard from Notre Dame. I feel like Leonard and Howard, to me, share a lot of the same traits. They both play better in the shotgun. They both struggle lining up under the center. They both are athletic. I feel like they're the same quarterback, but the better quarterback was the one that won. Now, I don't know if it's because his team was better, but I feel like Howard has a better pass to his game. But Will Howard out of the Ohio State would be somebody to watch. And Curtis Rourke from Indiana. Really liked his gameplay on tape. Feel like he would fit the San Francisco 49ers very well. They only have 16 quarterbacks participating in, 15 quarterbacks participating in the NFL Combine. But Curtis Rourke out of Indiana. Obviously, Tyler Shugg is one. And let's see what Will Howard does. Does he have a pretty damn good combine week? As far as running backs, man, I try to find my top 10, and then from my top 10, I'm going to try to narrow it down to a couple of players. But at the Senior Bowl, you guys know I love Trevor Etienne. You guys know I also love Marcus Yarns. So I won't necessarily talk, and Devin Neal. So I won't talk about those guys. Here's a name to pay attention to. Raheem Sanders out of South Carolina. This kid he's good at yards after contact. So I want to see what his balance is like there as a running back. How does he play out there, and how well does he do in his drills? How fast does he run? I'm not expecting him to run like a 4.4, 4.3. He'll probably run like a 4.5, but I'm excited to see what he does out there. We already know the Givens, the Ashton Jantes, the Caleb Johnsons. You guys are going to be glued to the TV sets. But another kid that no one's talking about is Bayshell Tutton or Tootin from Virginia Tech. Bayshell Tootin from Virginia Tech. Keep your eyes on him. Keep your eyes on Bayshell Tootin from Virginia Tech. As far as wide receivers, Jack Beck. Now, I think my man Kylie had a question about Jack Beck, and I just feel like Beck is going to continue. His stock is going to continue to rise. You know what I mean? His stock is going to continue to rise. He was the best wide receiver, probably top 3 wide receivers at the Senior Bowl. You got to watch him in the actual game. You saw how well he performed. He was the best receiver in the Senior Bowl game, actually. I felt like Jalen Noel had the best week. But there's several receivers out there that I definitely feel like are going to trend upwards. My opinion on Jack Beck, though, a guy that is going to work the chains. You can line him up in the slot. He can catch contested catches. He has athleticism to him, so he can go up and get passes. He's able to withstand hits from these safeties. And he could win in the route game, right? Like he can get open. You know what I love about him? He finds the holes in the zone. Like, I love this kid. I love everything about Jack Beck, and he's just tough, you know? And so, I mean, that's a guy, man. I think the Niners need to get tougher. You know what I mean? Just all around, though. All around. They need to get tougher all around, mentally wise, right? Like, they need to get tougher all around. I really do like Jack Beck. Excuse me. I feel like he's going to definitely trend up from the NFL draft. So Jack Beck, let's see how good Isaiah Bond runs. I feel like Isaiah Bond, Arian Smith, they're probably going to be two of the fastest wide receivers that run. Tez Johnson too. I feel like Tez Johnson has quicks. I don't know what his 40 speed is going to be like, but I'm excited to see what how quick those guys run. But here are a couple of names I want y'all to look out for. Nick Nash out of San Jose State. Ricky White out of UNLV, and Kyle Williams out of Washington State. Now, these are just guys I want y'all to look out for. We'll see if their stock rises from the combine. We'll see what happens. I just feel like these are three guys that I think are going to have great NFL combine weekends. All right. So Nick Nash, Ricky White out of UNLV. You know, you want a guy that I feel like, for one, probably will be a killer slot wide receiver, can get open, especially in the slot game. As far as route running, but he's just very athletic. He's athletic. He can play special teams. I mean, I think he led the nation in block field goals or punts. One of them. Like, obviously, he's just a great kid to have on the roster. I can't wait to see how fast he runs, but he definitely plays with great football speed, in my opinion. And I'm talking great football speed. So I really do like him out there for sure. Those are the wide receivers that I would like for us to check out. Tight ends, I mean, obviously you guys know the favorites, but pay attention to Luke Lackey out of Iowa. And I'm not saying that just because he's from Iowa. First of all, he comes from a football pedigree. All right. But injuries have plagued him a little bit in college. I want to see how well he performs and tests out there. So Luke Lackey, Aronde Gadsden from Syracuse is another one. And then CJ Dupree out of Alabama. CJ Dupree out of Alabama. Those are three tight ends that I feel like can, if they have really good combines, they'll start to trend a little bit and they'll start trending upwards. And that's good for them. That's good for their draft stock. One of my favorites is Jackson Halls out of Georgia Tech. I feel like he's going to be, a day 3 tight end. Most of these tight ends are going to be day 3s, but you're looking to get one of those steals, like who can block, who can catch, who can do those two combinations of things. Do the 49ers, or should the 49ers go a different route at the tight end position? Should they go with a different type of tight end? Should they go with more of a receiving tight end like an Elijah Aurora, a guy that can get open and can catch just about anything thrown to his way? Did deal with some injuries in college, so Colston Loveland will be number 1. Like, those are your Travis Kelce tree-esque type of tight ends, right? Guys that just run routes really well, could get open and stuff like that. So it's definitely going to be interesting. You know what I'm saying? My man Rusty says, Wayne, I got to go. I'll check the rest of the show tonight. Oscar got mad info on some players. Well done, bro. Yes, Oscar. Oscar is on it. All right. I got some Facebook love from my man Drew. What about Scatterbo? So Scatterbo is interesting, right? I like Scatterbo. But do we really? He's great at breaking tackles. You're not going to get the speed. He's not going to wow you. He's a football film guy. If you like what you see on film from Scatterbo, then you're Gucci. The production is there from Arizona State. How much will he be utilized? I don't feel like he's going to be your every down back. So he could be a potentially day 3 guy for the Niners, but I feel like there's going to be teams that are going to take him as their every down back. I don't know if he plays like that, though. I feel like that's just not really his game. I can't wait to see how well he runs, though. I'm interested to see how well he runs. You know, a lot of people kind of like comparing him to what Kyle Juszczyk is in the NFL, and you see how we use Kyle Juszczyk. A lot of people, they kind of got him going that fullback route, but kind of like that tweener between fullback and running back. I feel like that's what Scatterbo is. He's not a bad player if the production is there. You watched him in his bowl game. The kid can break tackles. The kid is phenomenal in the pass catching game. The kid can run. He can do all of those things. So I like him. I'm just not really going to be glued to him because I see what he could do on film. Now, if he runs fast, oh man. If he runs fast, then he's going to trend up. Like, these are the different things about him trending up. I see a lot of questions in here, so let me get to the questions. That's what I'm here for anyway. Mark Williamson says, is the running back for Delaware going to be the yes? Marcus Yarns is going to be there, and you guys already know how I feel about Marcus Yarns, right? I love him. I think the kid is probably one of the most underrated running backs in this draft. He went to Delaware. Obviously, he's not really getting looked at much, because they're just not one of the bigger power schools for college football. But what I was able to witness from this kid and watching him on film is how well he runs. Outside zone guy. He's built for the outside zone. The speed is going to be there. And I think what really makes him stand out to me, Mark, is the simple fact that he could get open. I mean, good luck trying to defend him with a linebacker, with a safety, even with a cornerback. I mean, he's running really crisp routes. It's like he's playing, and I hate to say this, he's a wide receiver, but playing running back. Like, and I know we've been there. He's not a wide back. Like, he's really like a wide receiver build, but with running back mentality. Like, he's not Debo. Totally different thing. He's more making people miss, burning people. Marcus Yarns is definitely one of my top 5 running backs in this draft. One of my top 5 running backs in this draft. All right. Corey says, Breezy, do you want Michigan cornerback Calvin Johnson? Are you talking about Will Johnson? Because there's no Calvin Johnson, but Will Johnson, I wouldn't be surprised if the San Francisco 49ers freaking go that route. I know a lot of people feel like the Niners are going to go offensive tackle, defensive tackle. When I offensive line, defensive line, however you want to look at it. When I look at the draft and I say, all right, a position that the Niners really address early, a premier position. Obviously, quarterback would be 1, tackle would be 2, defensive end would be 3, and I feel like cornerback is that 4th premier position. And when I say premier, I mean you really want to get the best bang for your buck, because if they ball out, they're going to cost you a lot of money. So I wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers, I wouldn't say that it's not a huge need. But if they can get a guy like Will Johnson that could come out there and you want to get the best man zone quarterback in the draft, it's Will Johnson. You want to get the guy that's going to have the cognitive ability to play zone, understand his spacing and assignments, it's Will Johnson. If you want to get a guy that's going to play press man, is going to be able to bait the quarterback, you know what I'm saying, and throwing the ball his route and pick sixing, playing the flat really well. Like, the kid just really understands football. I mean, he has a gift, but he understands football. My only concerns with Will Johnson is, how healthy is he going to be? Because he's been dealing with that toe injury. Now, I felt like he took some business decisions at Michigan. I'm not going to lie, and I'm not mad at him. College players do it. Nick Bosa did it. Look how well that panned out. I feel like Will Johnson did the same thing. And I felt like he decided, with this toe injury, I'm going to just remove myself. I'm not going to play much because I'm going to focus on my career and entering the draft. I think that's what Will Johnson did. Let's see how well he runs. Because as far as coverage, it's there. I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners at pick 11 and he was available went cornerback. Not because he's from Michigan. I mean cornerback. There's a few cornerbacks. Him, Suvan Revel out of East Carolina. Like, you're talking about getting those players that have that Richard Sherman mindset. You know what I'm saying? That press man corner, and can play zone really well. Those are 2 guys to me that I feel like the Niners, and Benjamin Morrison coming out of Notre Dame. All 3 of those guys, I wouldn't mind picking in the first round. I wouldn't mind picking all 3 of those guys in the first round. They all have same resemblance. Robert Saleh coming from the Jets. Who was his guy? It was Sauce Gardner. So will the Niners look for their version of Sauce? And if they do, it's got to be Will Johnson if he's available at 11. If they decide to go Suvan Revel out of East Carolina, I'm not going to be mad at it. And the crazy thing is, all 3 of those players, Corey, are coming off of injuries. So you're really going to be playing a game. But if they are healthy, you got a lock on one side. I think Renardo Green belongs on the outside. I think he's going to be a lock on the opposite side. And then you got that Swiss utility and Diamador Lenore, the guy that can just play all over the field. You need me in the slot? All right, cool. I'll go in the slot. You need me outside? Cool. I'll go outside. The secondary would just be so much better. So I'm not saying that they go that route. I would not mind if they went that route. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind if they went that route, Corey. So just to answer your question, Will Johnson could be a prospect that the Niners are going to be looking into. Let's see on how well he performs at the Senior Bowl. Like, does he test well? Not a lot of football tape. You're not going to get a lot of football tape. He's been dealing with injuries throughout his tenure in Michigan. So I can see if we stayed away from him too. But I just know as a cornerback, the kid is a lock on the outside. All right, let's flip the script, man. Let's get to the offensive line. You already know those top names. I'm trying to find some names you guys aren't really too familiar with, like a Charles Grant from William and Mary. Chase Loon out of Connecticut, I think, is the most athletic, one of the most athletic tackles at 315 pounds, 300 pounds. He's 6'8", 300 pounds. I feel like if he runs well, if his 10-yard split is damn near what Trent Williams' 10-yard split is, you must sign him up. He's a right tackle. All right, I like Marcus Bowe out of Purdue. Wyatt Milam, I think, is going to trend up after this draft. Here's two tackles that you guys probably don't know about. Holland Pierce out of Rutgers. Man, love his film. I think if he has a great combine weekend, he could be a problem. All right. Holland Pierce. And there was one more name. There's a kid out of Kansas, Logan Brown. I don't know why he keeps being overlooked. I'm not understanding, but if you want the best zone blocking and gap blocking tackle, it's not gonna go in the first round, second round, third round. I mean, if he has a great combine weekend, if he runs well, splits well, three cone as well, like all those drills that they do for these offensive linemen. Remember, the Niners have a type. If you like that, he might just be the guy. Logan Brown out of Kansas. Love everything I've seen about him. They drafted their offensive lineman, Dominic Pooney from Kansas. He's a top 100 player, or PFF top 101 player in the league. He was number 100. I can see them going back to Kansas and getting the tackle, and he will play tackle. I think he has the arm length. He definitely has the size. He has the he has the speed. He can anchor. There's so many things that I love about Logan Brown's game. I didn't have him as one of my top 5 tackles, but he's definitely one of my top 10 tackles, and I feel like he can definitely find a way to move up into my top 5 if he has a great damn combine weekend. All right, we're going to flip the script to defense, but Oscar wants to know about my man Ozzy Trapilo from Boston College. I got to watch more film on him because I got to find a game that really makes me say yes. I did not like him at the Senior Bowl. I thought he was one of the weakest. He was actually one of the players. You could check out that video that I did of one of the fallers. He was a faller for me. I didn't like him. I felt like he got pushed around by that defensive line. He was getting pushed around by all-stars. So maybe that was the thing. He might have played better in Boston College on tape. You know what I'm saying? So I'll watch some film on him for sure, and I'll definitely get back to you on that one. All right, I'll get back to you on that one. All right, defensive-wise, going to that defensive line, Tyler Batty out of BYU. Now, y'all know that I kind of have this affinity for players like Justin Smith, and I'm not saying he's Justin Smith, and Trey Hendrickson. Just think about the non-flashy, high-productive guys. There are 2 defensive guys that I like that no one's talking about. Tyler Batty, an edge rusher out of BYU. I think he's going to be somebody to look into, all right? And if I had to go defensive line, this kid named Ty Robinson out of Nebraska. I mean, I got a chance to see Ty Robinson at the Senior Bowl week, but man, this kid is strong. He's big, strong, and he's powerful, and he's blowing up on the offensive line. Now, he might be missing some traits like quick get off, first step, all that type of stuff, but if you can't block him, he's like a rabid dog coming at your quarterback. He's going to be a problem. He's big, and he led the Big Ten in pressures. I want to put that out there. So if you know what the Big Ten conference, they got some solid offensive linemen in the Big Ten, right? He led the whole Big Ten in the total amount of pressures. I really like this kid coming out of Nebraska. Also, interior guy, Tyrion Ingram Dawkins out of Georgia. These are guys that you're not really hearing much about. I just feel like if they go out there and they put good work out there in their workouts, they're going to start trending up. And let me just be clear. I'm hoping that every player that I mentioned or every player that is attending this combine trends up. That's what it's all about. Like, how can they become some better guys, right? How can they become better? Omar Norman Lott, I know a lot of people love him. Again, one of those, I don't want to say tweener, but he's between 290, 300-pound defensive interior guys. He's just a muscle up front. Like, good luck trying to block him. High motor guy and can just really push the offensive line backwards. Loved everything about him that I saw at the Senior Bowl. I don't know who or what the Niners are going to go. I feel like it's Mason Graham, Walter Nolan, Omar Norman Lott, T.J. Sanders. I feel like those are the top 4 interior guys that I feel like will be on their board. I don't know what order though. But those are 4 guys that I think can definitely come up here and be a force, especially in the pass rush. They'll help a lot in the pass rush. If you want to go more run stuffing, you got to look at some of these bigger guys like Alfred Collins out of Texas. I think he would be a plugger up the middle. I'm hoping he tests really well. Here's a big guy nobody's talking about either. Kid from Florida. What's his name? Cam what? Cam Johnson? I feel like that's his name. The kid from Florida, I felt like Cam Jackson from Florida. I thought he was better than Deion Walker out of Kentucky at the Senior Bowl. They're the same size. They're built differently. He's a little bit more round. I feel like Deion Walker is a little bit more tall. But, I mean, you want mountains up there on the defensive line. These are guys, man, 6'6", 6'7". Those are big guys. Those are mountains. Good luck trying to throw. They put on the right weight, the right strength in the NFL. They can be problems out there from the NFL for whatever team they go to. So if the Niners are looking to fill in the whole big kind of nose tackle type of, man, it's a problem. You already know all the players I love. So I'm looking at players that a lot of people aren't really mentioning their names, all right? Linebackers, again, there's several. You know, my guy, Jahad Campbell, is the guy that I'm hoping the Niners get. Demetrius Knight Jr. out of South Carolina is another player. And I'm trying to figure out if my man Jay is going to be there from Iowa. And he is. Jay Higgins. Jay Higgins is another older player. All right. But if Jay Higgins shows up and the drills, shows up and running, I just feel like this is a great opportunity for a guy like Jay Higgins. Again, is an older player, but I feel like this would be a great opportunity for Jay Higgins to really grow his stock at the NFL Combine. I really love him. Great tackler, can play coverage, just great. I just love the fact he can tackle. Like, you know what I mean? You don't have to worry about missed tackles. I look at the San Francisco 49ers defense, and the key piece that was missing with Dre Greenlaw not being there was tackling. That was it. Yeah, I mean, Dre Greenlaw brings a different energy and edge to the game, but man, tackling, the Niners just could not tackle. Like, I just don't know. So a couple of linebackers to look out for. Also, check out Chris Paul Jr. from Ole Miss. I feel like he might just have a great combine, and it will help boost his stock. Man, he didn't play in any of the All-Star games, so we'll see what happens with him as well. Defensive backs, I already talked about these guys. I want to see what Kobe Bryant does. He's going to be there. Billy Bowman Jr., that's my safety out of Oklahoma. I want to see what these guys do. Some names that you probably aren't familiar with that are going to be attending the NFL Combine. I'm just going through my list. Please look up this kid, Jacob Parrish from Kansas State. I think he's the best tackling DB in the draft. I need my defensive backs not afraid to tackle. They're going to have to play against the run. Teams are trying to come out here and run. They're going to have to play against the run. Upton Stout played in the Senior Bowl. Didn't really get the looks that I thought he needed. But if you want a guy that is just all over the football field, that's Upton Stout. I hope he tests really well to boost his stock up as well. And again, I'm hoping all of these players boost their stock. I really do. I'm really hoping that that's what this is all about. I'm hoping that they all boost their stock for sure, 1,000%. And then last and certainly not least, we got the specialists out there, and I feel like the 49ers are probably, I'm hoping that they don't draft a kicker in this draft. Delvin Thomas says a kicker to put pressure on Jake Moody. My puppy kicks better than him. I don't want the 49ers to draft a kicker ever again. I think the year of drafting kickers and punters are done. I'm hoping the kickers that are going to be at the Senior Bowl, we got at the Combine, I have Senior Bowl on my mind. The 4 kickers that are going to be there, Andres Barragalalis from Miami is going to be there. Ryan Fitzgerald from Florida State, Tyler Look from Arizona, Ben Sauls from Pittsburgh. And then the 2 punters, James Burnup, Jeremy Crenshaw, Alabama and Florida. They got about 6 specialist kickers and punters that are going to be attending the NFL Combine, all right? So I hope the Niners stay away. If these guys happen to go undrafted now, that's a whole nother conversation. So I'm hoping that we don't draft another kicker or special teams kicker punter ever again. I feel like that era should be done with the San Francisco 49ers. That's just in my opinion, all right? In my opinion, I feel like that era should be over freaking with. All right, over with. All right, now let me just see if there's some comments that I missed. I said there were some questions. I answered the Jack Beck. I answered that. My man James MCD says, why isn't anyone talking about Luke Condra, out of Cincinnati, guard, fit scheme, outside zone, excellent and pass pro? That's a good question. When you look at him, I feel like he does fit. I was looking at his film too. He's a name that kept popping up. And I do like his play. I don't know if he plays as mean as... For me, my opinion, I think the Niners need to get mean on the offensive line. I think that's the edge that they're missing. I feel like they have too many guys that, just play the position. I don't know if Luke Condra plays with that edge. And so maybe he does. And maybe he would be the perfect fit. And maybe he is a pick for the San Francisco 49ers, James. I'm not disagreeing with you. I just know that I specifically are looking for guys that I know that are going to play with an edge, And so there's several guys out there. I have a shorts video out there you guys can check out. And I give you all guys with edge. Tyler Booker, Gray Zabel. And then I even went to some of the smaller schools like Marcus Weir from Montana State, Jackson Slater from Sacramento State. There's nothing wrong with Luke Condra, though. Nothing wrong with him. He could be a pick. He fits the size, has the size. I need to know how well does he move. I want to see how quick he moves. And we'll probably get that at the NFL Combine. I mean, that's what the Combine is all about. It's really to go out there, who's going to stand out. Like, who's going to stand out? So that's a good player, Luke Condra. No one is talking about him. Very good player. Thank you, James, for that comment as well. All right, thank you for that comment. Now, listen, man, the Combine is kicking off. 49ers are going to be in the building. John Lynch is speaking. I gave you a slew of players you probably can look out for. There's going to be tons more. I'm looking to be doing coverage after the Combine, so after every meeting, I'm going to try to do a show just to kind of recap what we saw and then kind of get who stood out, who did not stand out, who's rising, who's falling. So be ready for those episodes. Don't forget to check out some of the other videos that I have here on the channel. Hit that like button, all right? If you're new to the channel, make sure you click on subscribe. And if you want to support the channel, join the Breezy Bunch crew. The link of the description will be in the show if you can't click on it on your cell phone. So you can go to the link in the description of the show. You can become a member, support the channel. You guys are always awesome. Again, shout out to the members of the Breezy Bunch crew. I do apologize if there were any technical difficulties. It's not normally how I run the show, but right now I can't hear any of my audio. That's a problem. So I'll be fixing that as we speak. Till the next time, keep it faithful to the Bay. Peace.